Eagle Tech Genius is a show for those who want to hear the latest tech news and reviews and find out what tools can help your business. Join Peter and Belinda as they bring you technology tips, tricks and tools helping save you time, effort and money so you can focus on your business. Broadcast live from 6 p.m. every Thursday, this is Eagle Tech Genius on eaglewavesradio.com.au.
And who have we got coming up after the break, Peter?
Well, up after the break, we have Fiona Lewis from Super Savvy Business, who's going to be talking about content marketing and Google SEO as well, which is amazingly important. So please don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Eagle Tech Genius. My name is Peter Moriarty. I am here with my co-host, Belinda Luby. Well, our next guest is Fiona Lewis from Super Savvy Business, and Fiona's been a friend of mine for, well, not a long time, for about a year now, but we've had a pretty exciting ride getting to know each other because there are some really, really complementary ways that we can work together, and I'm just so excited about what Fiona does. She is really an expert in her field. She's absolutely awesome, and I'm really privileged to have her on the show because we're going to be talking about the latest content marketing, SEO, Google AdWords stuff. It's really exciting.
That is perfect because all I hear around the digital space nowadays is content marketing. So Fiona, tell us all about your business. Where did you get started?
Oh, look, it all started, guys, back in 2008. I was pregnant and about to have a third child and looking for a way to work from home. And I knew the internet was going to be a really good option for me. So I started in affiliate marketing.
Yep.
And before too long, I had friends and family people saying, can you do that for our business? Can you get our websites ranking on page 1?
Because you didn't have enough to handle already. Wow.
Well, you know what mothers can be like with their Superwomen capes on. We like to take on the world.
True, yes.
Well, so for someone who doesn't know what the definition of content marketing is, what does it mean? Like if you had to explain it really simply.
Well, I guess it's about taking your content and repurposing it and syndicating it around the web so that you can draw visitors to your website, essentially.
So for somebody who has a blog around mummying, so what would they do with content marketing?
Well, look, I guess the thing is that when we think about a piece of content, you don't see it in isolation because that piece of content can be repurposed into multiple different formats and then syndicated not just on your website but across, dozens and dozens and dozens of web properties. But the whole strategy is how can you then access the people on these other websites and draw them back to your website.
And bring them back to yours. Yeah. So what kind of content would you start with?
Oh, look, you can approach it in a number of different ways. You can start with a video, for example. That video can then turn into a written transcript. You can strip the audio out of that video and create an MP3 file. I guess the thing to remember is that people like to consume content in different ways. Just because you personally might like to watch videos, other people prefer to read and other people prefer to listen on the go when they're driving in their car. And, even some people like to read PDF documents. I mean, I've got an account with a website called Scribed, and I upload all of my transcripts in there, and I've had over 4,000 reads of my content on a PDF document sharing site.
That is fantastic.
So I guess the thing to remember is just don't assume that just because you don't like to consume content in a particular format that other people won't.
That's really interesting, and I like how you've just told us that you can take one piece of content, a video, and break it down into different parts because you've just multiplied that content.
Yeah, look, it's all about leverage. And as business owners, we're all very busy, and we don't want to spend our whole lives creating content to market our businesses online.
Yeah.
But really, this is, like you were saying, this is the direction that online marketing has gone. It is all about content marketing, and this has occurred because of all the big algorithm changes that have happened with Google in the past 18 months to 2 years. It's totally transformed and changed the way we think about online marketing. The SEO world, the SEO industry, for those of you who may not be familiar with SEO, that stands for search engine optimization. But the way that people use SEO has changed. We cannot do the sorts of tactics that were being used in the 2000s,
That's
really.
exactly right. You've got to keep your finger on the pulse. So what update from Google has caused the most disruption in SEO?
Look, there's been 3 major updates, and I won't go into them in detail, but in 2011 there was one called the Farmer Update, which was basically Google slapping down on all of what was known as content farms, or the article directories and the blog networks. And a lot of businesses went out of business overnight because they were relying heavily on their rankings from links that came from these sorts of networks. And when those networks were de-indexed, those websites that were relying on them pretty much went into the Netherlands. You know, they just disappeared. They lost their rankings, and all of a sudden they had no traffic coming to their websites.
Yeah.
And then following from the Farmer Update was the Google Panda Update, which was really targeting the low-quality sites. Google was trying to get rid of those low-quality sites that were ranking above the good quality sites.
So what do you mean by low-quality sites? What does Google deem as a low-quality site?
A site that's got content that is scraped or duplicated. So, or maybe a site that's primarily been put up to be full of Google ads or advertising or affiliate, marketing. Sites that maybe were just a one-page site, for instance. They didn't have any substance to them.
And so there's not much original content there.
No.
It's just kind of crap.
That's right. At the end of the day, Google wants to provide the best user experience, okay? And what was happening, Google were copying a lot of flack because when people were performing searches, these poor quality sites were ranking well and people weren't finding the content that they really wanted. So at the end of the day, I suppose what Google is trying to do is refine its algorithms so that they're serving up the most relevant, best quality content when people perform a search.
Yeah. So what have been the sort of more, what have been the latest updates? What's the latest information? Because I think within the last couple of weeks or the last month or so, there's been another couple of tweaks from Google.
Yeah.
Tell us what's been the latest.
Well, the big upset came from an algorithm update called Google Penguin. And actually, there's been several sort of modifications to the Google Penguin update, but Google Penguin was really about targeting those websites that were breaking Google's rules. In other words, they were using what we call black hat strategies in order to gain their rankings. Now, when we talk about black hat strategies, we're talking about buying links from these link networks. We're talking about using duplicated content. We're talking about keyword stuffing. This is where you use your keyword multiple times within your content. And Google's basically been able to refine their algorithm enough to pick up on all of these sort of black hat strategies. And if you don't stop doing what you're doing in that case, then your website will be penalised, or this is what we call the Google slap.
Yeah.
So unless somebody's providing exactly what their customers or readers want, basically Google has zoned in on that, and now it's only those people who are providing real value who get noticed in the rankings. Is that what they're doing?
Yeah, and it's not just about providing good value, it's about doing that on a consistent basis.
Yep.
It's all about content times consistency. Okay, it's not okay just to think, I'll put on a bit of content once every 6 months. It's about providing good quality content on a consistent basis so that people have a reason to keep coming back to your site.
So how can people in business keep their finger on the pulse in this?
Look, I think it's about connecting with people who live, eat and breathe this stuff. I mean, I am a self-confessed techno geek, I will admit, and this is where Peter and I really do get on because we're both the same in that regards. But look, it's about making sure you follow the people who are really paying attention to this and listening to what they say. But it is difficult. The internet is a constantly changing landscape, and it can be challenging at times to know what's right and what's not okay. It's very tricky.
So I'd like to jump into some of the no-nos soon and some of the things that you should not do. But could you break down maybe a couple of bullet points on what some of the current best practices are to get your site well ranked in Google?
Okay, so I think we've covered it to a certain extent. It's about creating that good quality content for a start. It's also about I went into the Google headquarters last year, and I was very fortunate to have a conversation with Nick Leader, the head of Google in Australia. And I asked him, I said, look, Nick, if I was to be able to bring back 3 key areas to tell my subscribers and my community to focus on, what would they be? And he said, look, Fiona, the very first thing to pay attention to is video. Because video, YouTube is the second largest search engine outside of Google. People love to consume video, and if you are using video on your website and that you also have a strong YouTube channel, that is a really good way for a business owner to be able to draw people to your site. The second thing that Nick spoke about was social signals. Google is I suppose they're trying to move away from all this manipulation of...
You've been listening to another Eagle Waves radio podcast. You can find more great podcasts, blog posts and information at our website, www.eaglewavesradio.com.au. We broadcast live 5 times a week from Vivo Cafe in Sydney CBD. If you're in the area, why not stop by and check us out?